Radha Ras Sudhanidhi by Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur. And in our ongoing discussion about the glories of the Mahima, the glories of Srimati Radharani's Nam, Rup, Gun, Leela and Seva, we're at the point where we're discussing the Radha Rup Mahima, the glories of Radharani's transcendental form. We discussed the glories of Radharani's name already, Radha. Now we're discussing the glories of Radharani's form, transcendental form. And we're beginning to discuss the glories of Radharani's transcendental form by discussing the glories of her dust of her feet. We're approaching her from a very humble viewpoint, from the bottom up. Trinadapi Sunichena Tarori Vasahishana Amanina Amanidena Kirtaniya Sadhari. Then Ainanda Tanajikintkaram Patita Mam Mishvani Babam Buddho Kripaya Tava Padapankaja Stita Duli Sadrisham Vachintya. Radharani is praying to Krishna, or Mahaprabhu is praying in Shikshastakam. Oh Nanda Nandan, please pick me up from this ocean and keep me as a particle of dust at your feet. Stita Duli Sadrisham Vichintya. So we want to approach our Swamini, our Srimati Radharani, also from this viewpoint, from the dust particles of her feet. We don't presuppose that we have any qualification for a more intimate connection than that. We have no adhikar or qualification for any more intimate association with Radharani. As Mahaprabhu is praying, Mahaprabhu is in Radhabhav, the Mahabhav of Radharani. In Antya-lila, chapter 20 of Chaitanya Charitamrita, he recites Shikshastakam. He meaning she. So Radharani is actually praying to Nanda Nandan, and Radharani is praying to Govinda, and Radharani is praying to Prananath and to Jagadish. Throughout this prayer there are different names. There's Jagadish, there's Ishvara, Jagadish, Nanda Nandan, Govinda, and Prananath. So obviously these are all male names describing Swayam Bhagavan. They're describing Krishna. So Krishna is not calling himself, not praying to himself. Radharani is praying to, offering these prayers. So Radharani herself, who is so qualified and so perfect and so pure and so intimate, she's praying to Nanda Nandan, a dust particle. Keep me as a dust particle in your feet. Stita Duli Sadrisham Vijintya. So if Radharani is praying like that, for that type of connection with Shyamsundar Nanda Nandan, then what kind of connection, what kind of prayer can we have to establish our connection, our eternal connection with Srimati Radharani? It must be something similar. So Prabodhananda Saraswati, he is describing like this about the glories of the dust of Radharani. And yesterday we read how Krishna, when he's going for Avisar, love journey to meet Radharani at a Sanket Kunj. Sanket means pre-assigned or appointed or designated meeting place. It's called Sanket Kunj. Then on the way, when Krishna's on the way, when he sees in the ground of Vrindavan, he sees some of Radharani's footprints, and they're very easy to understand. There are specific 19 marks are there. There's 8 marks on her right foot and 11 marks, symbols or marks on the 11 marks on the left foot. Well, as soon as Krishna eyes those symbols, he knows, oh, these are Radhika's footprints. Immediately he falls on the ground and starts rolling in the footprints of Radharani. He says, Ha Radhe, Ha Radhe, Ha Radhe. And the dust of her feet he's smearing over his body in great anticipation, great appreciation, gratitude, love. So we heard that yesterday. So this is verse number 5. Adaya murdani yada purodara gopya kam yam padam priyaguner api pitchamole bhavotsavena bhajatam rasakama denum tam radhika chanarena maham smarami tam radhika chanarena maham smarami. It's very easy to understand that. Aham smarami. What does that mean? Aham smarami. Western people know. You don't even know. Smaran. You know what smaran is? Smaran means remember. So when you hear something, you should think, what does this sound like that I know? Not that what is it? In other words, smaran sounds like smaran. And smaran means, aham means I know. So it's easy to try to translate. Aham smaran, I remember. Charna Rainam. Rainam means raj. Charna means foot. Radhika Charna Rainam. The dust of Radharani's feet, I remember. So that we already, just by knowing Hindi, you already know. Kamadanam, Rasa Bhajatam. This is Sanskrit, but it's practically analogous to Hindi. I remember, this is Prabhupada Saraswati, who's Tunga Vidya Sakhi and Radha Krishna Leela. Of course, there's sometimes different identities given. Or Krishna Pandit is also Tunga Vidya, but that they can sort that out up there. I remember the foot dust of Sri Radhika, which is held on the heads by the very generous gopis of Braj, who desire the position which, with all its beloved attributes, is even desired for by Krishna, who wears a crown of peacock feathers. That's the picha mole. And which is a wish-yielding kamadenu, for all, it means a wish-fulfilling cow, for all those who worship it with a festival of loving emotions. So here he's further absorbed in his glorification of the dust of Radharani's feet. There are several verses where he's glorifying Radharani's feet. I have a second translation here, my Dasara Sutta, the same verse. We can see how he understands it. He titles this verse, he said, the dust of Radha's feet is a desire cow for perfection of ras. He says, holding which dust means the dust of Radharani's feet, holding the dust of Radharani's feet upon their heads, the most glorious of noble gopis attain the most desired post, along with all the cherished benefits which are longed for, even by the peacock feathered crowned boy. Like rasa fulfilling desire cows, that's what it says, rasa kamadenu. Rasa kamadenam. Like rasa fulfilling desire cows for her sincere worshippers, whose process of worship is just like a grand festival of ecstatic emotions. I now remember the dust of Radhika's feet. So it says, Bhavotsavena. Utsav means festival, and Bhav means divine rapture, ecstatic emotions, and Savena means Seva. It says Seva Bhajatam. Bhavotsavena Bhajatam. So the bhajan, Radha bhajan, or the worship of Radharani's feet. If one worships the dust of Radharani's feet, then he will become qualified to engage in the great festival of Radharani's service. He will attain the service of Radharani's feet, which is, that festival is full of bhav, full of ecstatic emotions. So this is further glorification. And then, in this verse, some points are here in the purport and also in the verse about the rarity of Radharani's foot dust. Excuse me, I mean to say that Krishna himself desires the service of Radharani's feet. Because here at Prabodhananda, he's praying as a devotee in Sadhaka Vesh. Sadhaka Vesh means there's Sarupa Vesh. There's two Aveshas. Avesha means to be absorbed in, enveloped in, to fully identify with, to enter into, like we say Pravesh. Pravesh means to enter a house or a temple. So Sarup Avesh means to be absorbed with, or absorbed in one's eternal identity, eternal, internal, spiritual identity, his Siddhadeha, his Sarup, spiritual body. It's called Sarupa Vesh. So in the Sarupa Vesh, one will engage in Astakaliya Seva of Radha and Krishna according to the flow of their pastimes throughout the morning, noon and night. And he will serve directly in his meditation their Leela through his spiritual form as a mandri or a coward boy or whatever. That's Rupa Vesh. So in this book, Radha Rasa Sudanidhi, sometimes the author, Prabodhananda Saraswati, he is absorbed in his spiritual identity and he's directly serving Radharani. It's called Swarupavesh. It's called Leela Pravesh. He enters the Leela by the intensity of his meditation, by his smaran, and in his internal vision he sees the Leela, and then he sees himself as a Mandri and Mandri Sarup, and then he renders service there according to the necessity of the pastime. And then sometimes that Spurti, it's actually a Spurti, which is a very intense absorption practically. There's Spurti, Vispurti, and Saksha Darshan. But in Spurti, one is seeing Leela within their mind and entering there and rendering Seva. But then sometimes he loses that meditation by arrangement of Krishna or Yogamaya. Somehow that meditation escapes him, and then he comes back and he returns to what is called Sadak Deha, his Sadak Avesh. His Sadak Avesh means he becomes absorbed in his external identity as Prabodhananda Saraswati, with this see-feel touch body, which we call material body, but actually the body of a Vaishnava is considered transcendental in the sense that it's a Prakrita Deha, meaning that it's engaged in Krishna's service. So then he comes back into a Sadaka Deha, and that's called Sadaka Avesh, what do you call it? Yeah, Swarupa Avesh and Sadaka Rupa Avesh, absorbed in his form as a Sadaka. And then at that time, then he remembers, I saw this wonderful pastime and the internal vision by the mercy of Yogamaya, by the mercy of Krishna. And I entered there in the spiritual world and I rendered service there in my Swarupa Vesh. But now I've come back to this world. And then he laments, it's Vilap. He starts to lament. Then he hankers again. Then he starts to pray rather than being a Siddha and absorbed in a Siddha Deha, in his Siddha Swarup. Now he's a sadhak. He's a practitioner. He's practicing bhakti. Then he's praying, I pray for the chance to serve Radharani. I pray for the dust of her feet. When will I absorb myself in remembering her feet? So this is what this particular verse in prayer, number 5, he's in Sadhaka Rupa Vesh. He's absorbed in his identity. And he's offering this prayer. He says, I'm remembering the foot dust. And he's glorifying this foot dust. The dust of Radharani's feet is so wonderful. It's a great utsav, full of ras. It's a kamadena. It's a wish-fulfilling cow, and all these things. So this is what's going on. This word transcendental, we can pause for a second to discuss this word transcendental, because some people we get confused. There's 2 meanings of transcendental. One should, I think, most everyone knows, but if you don't, you can keep it in your mind. When you read Shastra, or when you to understand the tattvas and truths of Krishna consciousness, one meaning of transcendental, we say transcendental means spiritual. Transcendental means transcend, to go beyond this world of birth and death, beyond this world of earth, water, fire, and air, and ether. This Paravyom, Vaikuntha, this transcendental realm. It's never created, it's never destroyed, it's never manifest and unmanifest, it's eternally manifest, Nitya Prakash. So that is the Nitya Dham, transcendental Dham, and everyone there has a transcendental body, Divya Kalevaram. It's called a Prakrita Deha. Their body is made of consciousness, it's made of Chintamani, it's made of Satchidananda Vigraha. Ishwar Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha. So the body, the Vigraha, the Murti, the form there is Satchidananda. It is eternal. There's no earth there in that body. There's no water, air, fire. There's no material elements. Is that clear? It's called the spiritual body, a Prakriti, no Prakriti. It's made of Satchidananda and Prema. It's in Bhava. It's all made of Bhava, all different Bhavas and Premas. That's called the transcendental body. Right? So this is the first meaning of transcendental. Is that totally spiritual, nothing mixed up material. That's transcendental body, the transcendental world, the transcendental personalities, and Nitya Parishats of the Lord, eternal associates. Now, there's another meaning. We say, when a devotee gets initiated and takes Vaishnava Diksha, and he's serving as guru, his body is transcendental. The term is used, his body is transcendental. And that phrase is also used by Lord Chaitanya in Chaitanya Charitamrita as a Prakriti Deha. Diksha Kale, Diksha Kale Prakrita Deha. At the time of Diksha, the person's body becomes a Prakrita. Now what does this mean? The person has taken Diksha from Guru. Now we say, your body is transcendental. Your body is transcendental. What does that mean? First of all, has anyone ever heard this term? Once you take initiation, now your body is transcendental.
Senses are spiritualized.
That's like answering a question with a question. Okay, what does it mean the senses are spiritualized?
Means we have all the three modes of emotion.
No, you're not getting the point.
Is involved in the materialistic ways of life.
What? What was the last part? I didn't hear the last thing you said.
With the Guru and Krishna for the same solution.
Yeah, this is the answer. Why, if you haven't heard, that's your misfortune. But generally it's understood that now because otherwise what's the difference? You're a karmi and then you're initiated, there's no difference. So we say, sometimes Prabhupada uses the term, he says, once you take initiation, then your body becomes spiritualized. Spiritualized means transcendental. Lord Chaitanya used the term aprakriti. Prakriti means not prakriti, means transcendental. There's either prakriti, there's prakriti or paraprakriti. Paraprakriti means beyond prakriti. So aprakrita, prakriti or prakrita means material, and aprakrita means not material. So he says aprakrita deha. That means siddha deha. He doesn't say siddha, but he says aprakrita, because siddha deha that's the perfect body. That one first aprakrita, then siddha, and then vastu siddhi. It's like this. So what does it mean when we say, oh, you've taken Vaishnava Diksha, you're transcendental. You're a transcendental personality. You're a spiritual person. Oh, you're a spirit. Now you're a devotee. Devotee means you're a spiritual person. You're transcendental. Now you're transcendental. What does it mean you're transcendental? Does that mean now your body is Satchidananda? Is that what it means? There's no more stool, no more BO, body odor, BO, smell, stink, stench. There's no more mucus and pus and all this. No, because there's none of that in the spiritual body. It's all there, very much so. So then how can you say you're transcendental? How can you say your body's transcendental? Hey, you say you're transcendental, you're initiated, you're a transcendentalist. I'm a transcendentalist. I'm transcendental now. How can you say that? You're full of stool and urine, pus, and mucus, blood, and all these things. How can you say that? You can say that because my body is engaged in the service of transcendence. My thinking, my speaking, my acting. So therefore, my body is transcendental because my body is used in the service of God, which was she mentioned in brief, trailing at the end of your statement. But this is the point. That yes, our bodies are transcendental. And as long as we're engaged in the service of Krishna, our bodies remain transcendental and spiritualized. Like the fire, iron rod is in the fire, then it's fireized. And even for a few minutes when you take it out, you can go burn things with it. But if you keep it separated from the fire for a long time, then it becomes cooled down, it's not red anymore, it becomes black, and it becomes cold, and it becomes iron, it has no firepower. So that's what happens to us, we lose our firepower. If we keep a distance from bhakti, and don't hear and chant, remember and associate and serve Guru and Krishna, then we become iron again. Punar Mushika Bhava. Again become a mouse. Punar Mushika Bhava. Guru makes you a lion. Bhakti makes you transcendental. Bhakti is transcendental. Bhakti is completely transcendental. It's not a material phenomenon. It has nothing to do with material nature. Bhakti is transcendental. So as long as you're doing bhakti, you're transcendental. Your body is transcendental. Your mind is transcendental. Your activities are transcendental. So these are the two meanings. One is complete spiritual Satchidananda. The other is material. The material body is there, but the material body is engaged in service of transcendence. So the material body is called transcendental. Diksha Kale Prakrita Deham. At the time of Diksha, the body becomes transcendental. This is the meaning. Is it clear? So anyway, we're talking about the dust of Radharani's feet. And back to the point, beside that small definition. And that even Krishna is desiring the dust of Radharani's feet. So there's a beautiful pastime that, of course, Prabhupada Saraswati, in the verse, he's saying, the gopis are desiring the dust of Radharani's feet, and me too. I'm also desiring, aham smarami. I'm also remembering and praying for the dust. I hope to remember the dust of Radharani's feet. That'll be a great babutsav, great festival of ras and sentiments for me, and I hope someday to attain that. So then he's recounting a Leela where even Krishna himself, he wants the opportunity to serve Radharani's feet and get some of that dust on his head. So generally after Radha and Krishna enjoy together, then Radharani adopts a particular bhav. There's 8 in Nayaka bhav. There's 8 different types of Nayaka bhav. I mean, there are many unlimited types, but there's 8 primary types, and each of the Sakhis they are exponents of that, of one. So there's Kalahantarita bhav, and there's Swadina Bhatrika bhav, and there's Vasajika bhav, and there's different types of bhavas. It's called Nayaka. Nayaka bhav means the mood of love, the heroine, the Nayaka, the hero and the heroine, right? Radharani adopts a mood called Swadina Bhatrika, which means domineering, controlling, ordering, bossing. She becomes a boss. Hey, do it like this. So after they enjoy, then Radharani tells Krishna, "Oh, you messed me up. My hair is all messed up, and my necklace is broken, and my pearls are all scattered here and there, and my garland's crushed, and all my kajal is smeared, and my lipstick is gone. So now my Sakhis will come here, and I'll be very embarrassed if they find me in this predicament or this disarray. So now you, since you made this mess, you clean it up." Just like a mother correcting her child, and the child makes a mess. "Hey, you made a mess in here. You clean it up." So Radharani is commanding. He said, "Listen, now you redecorate me. You paint my face, and you make it everything nice." Then Krishna says, "Yes, madam. I am dasosmi. I am your servant. I will immediately attend to your wish is my command." So then Radharani proudly orders him to redress her before all the gopis notice, and then she orders him, "Listen, my feet, you took my feet and held my feet on your head, and all that lacti, all that beautiful red color for my feet, adorning my feet and making them look so beautiful. Now it's come on your head and it's off my feet. So now you paint my feet again. You reapply the lacti." This lac is some kind of natural dye that they put there, alta, called alta or lac. This is red coloring on the bottom of a sati patni, a chaste wife's feet. They have this. So Radharani, of course, is duly married, and she wears this red color on her feet. So then Krishna, one Kinkari means Manjari, maidservant, Pransaki. She brings a nice golden cup with this liquid lac inside and a brush. So then Krishna bows down and he kneels down at Radharani's feet, and he takes her feet. He holds one foot on his thigh. But when he looks at Radharani's feet, he becomes a little bit absent-minded. When he sees the shape of Radharani's feet and her beautiful toenails and her toes, and the sweetness and the beauty of her foot soles, then he starts to think of different pastimes and remember her in a very intimate way. And then what he does, then he's so enamored and so attracted by her feet, he becomes lost in this remembrance. So then, out of his appreciation, he takes Radharani's feet and he holds Radharani's feet to his chest. He presses Radharani's feet to his chest, and then he starts crying. And then his tears start falling over Radharani's feet. And his prem snan, you can say prem ashru snan, bathing with his tears of love. And then Radharani, she kind of pushes him with her foot. She says, "Listen, come on, this is not time to do your job, will you? You're supposed to paint my feet. Why are you breaking to pieces? I'm giving you an order, and a servant is supposed to carry out the order, not fall to pieces when the master gives an order." So she's very much domineering, and because he just wants to have a little bit of that dust. He wants to have a little dust of Radharani's feet on his chest. Like I was telling earlier, how these Bengali yatris, these Gaudiyas, when they come and take darshan of Damodar or other Thakurs of Vrindavan, and then they pay obeisances, and they take their hand and they rub their hand on the temple floor, mandir floor, and they collect as much dust as they can, and they go like this. And they go down here and they rub it all over their breast and chest and their belly, and because they want that dust of Damodar's feet and Radharani's feet and Lalita's feet on their body. And it's the greatest ornament for them and the greatest treasure for them to carry back to Bengal. And so they have great appreciation and great love for the Brajaraj, Krishna's Charanarenu, Radhika Charanarenu. So here we see Krishna doing the same thing. He feels so honored and so happy to get the opportunity to rub the dust of Radharani's feet on his chest. So Radharani says, "What are you doing? Put on the lac quickly." Then Krishna starts trying to paint her feet, and then his hands start trembling. And then Radharani's noticing that Krishna is losing it, so to speak. She glances at one of her kinkaris, and she smiles. In other words, she communicates through her glance. Do you see? You see, he's like he can't do this job. He's let me do this work. So then she smiles and she says to the Manjari, she says, "Sham, he can't do it. You better do it." So then the kinkari means Manjari. Kinkari means kim karomi. How can I serve you? Kinkar means servant, and kinkari means female servant. So then she comes and she takes Krishna out by the shoulder and she just gently pushes him away. "Hey, move out of the way. Move over. I'll do it." And then Krishna thinks, "Alas, when will I be so fortunate to get an opportunity to serve Radhika's feet like these Manjaris are doing? How can I become as qualified as this Manjari?" This Leela shows that even Krishna is desiring the foot dust of Srimati Radharani. Sri Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. So how much we must be desiring and praying and hoping that dust. Of course, we go to Leela Stalis to collect dust, to pray and collect dust. We're dust collectors. Our hearts should be a dust bin. Have you ever heard dust bin? That's the Indian English name for trash can. American English, it's called a trash can. But in English, they say dust bin. So that's a good word here, because we want to have a dustbin. Our hearts should be a dustbin. So when we go to the Leela Stalis, Radhakund and Seva Kunj, Nidhiban, Vamshivat, then we go there to roll in the dust, lie in the dust, and fill the bin of our heart, the container of our heart. The container of our heart we want to fill with the dust of Radha Shyam's feet. And pray. We collect dust and we pray. Roll, collect, and pray. Rolling, collecting, and praying. So all we're doing is following the yad acharati shrestas tatat evatirojana. So yat pramanam kurute lokastadanavartate. Krishna is telling in Gita that whatever a great man does, a common man follows in his footsteps. Whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. So Krishna is certainly an honorable person. He is a great man. He is a Mahapurush, the Adipurush. He is the greatest person. And he is rolling in the dust of Radharani's feet. And he is honoring the dust of Radharani's feet. And he's holding it to his chest and to his forehead. And he's praying for the opportunity to serve Radharani's lotus feet. So we should also follow his example here and pray for the opportunity to serve the dust of Radharani's feet and carry that dust of Vrindavan always on our head and on our body. I'll stop there. If there's any questions. This is, they say, Madhuram Samapayat, that everything should end on a sweet note. This is a term of Sanskrit and drama. They don't have any. In Sanskrit drama and Vedic drama, there's no such thing as a hero getting shot in the last scene of the movie and the heroine crying and crying and the movie ends like that. This is Indian movies, modern Indian movies. But in the traditional, proper Vedic culture, there's always a happy ending, always a sweet ending, happy ending. So this is the conclusion. First there's Nam Tattva, and then there's the Abhideya Tattva with Gaur Leela and his teachings, and there's Prayojana Tattva, Prem Seva Radharani. So this is our sequence of classes. So the sweetest part is in the end. Chant the Nam, get the mercy of Gaur Nitai, and enter the Leela of Radharani. This is the system. This is Bhajan Krama. Nam, Kripa, Seva. Right? No Nam, no Kripa. No Kripa, no Seva. So this is the approach to these classes. Any comments or questions? Reading from Radharasa Sudhanidhi by Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur. We're discussing verse number 3. And the concept of this verse is that, of course, all the last few verses we've been discussing the Radhika Charana Renu. The Renu or Duli or Raj, the dust of Srimati Radharani's lotus feet. How Krishna himself worships Radharani's feet and decorates his forehead with the dust from Radharani's feet, and if he sees her footprints somewhere in the land of Vrindavan, he immediately stops what he's doing, stops where he's going, and he rolls in the dust of those footprints. He considers that these are the greatest ornaments and decorations for his body, to have the footprints of his devotee on his forehead. So that indicates how much regard, how much appreciation and love that God has for his devotees. Because Radharani, of course, is a devotee of Krishna, but she's the greatest devotee of Krishna. Parama Vaishnavi, she's Radha. Radha means worshipper, and she's the greatest worshipper. So as soon as he sees the footprints, in other words, the point we can derive in this is that Krishna has so much regard and respect and care for the devotee that even the footprints of the devotee are valuable to him. Tadinam Samarchanam, it says in the 4th canto, Vishnu Maranam Sarvesham. Instead of all the worshipful objects, Vishnu is the greatest worshipful object, Vishnu Radhanam Sarvesham. But then Tadinam Samarchanam, not only Vishnu is the most worshipful, Aradhanam, the most worshipful of anyone and everyone, but anything related to Vishnu is also worshipful. So what's related to Vishnu? His paraphernalia, his abode, the holy abode. We can worship Vrindavan because it's Krishna's place. We can worship, we can offer arti, we can do puja, we can do seva, Dham seva, sweeping the Dham, cleaning the Dham. We can worship the Dham as much as we worship Krishna because they're equal. Tadiyanam Samarchanam. So Krishna is worshipping the lotus feet of his devotee. He's honoring it. He's putting the dust of her feet. Generally, people don't want to put dirt on their heads. Not too many people walk around the ground and pick up some dirt and put on their head. Or take someone's shoes. It's a great offense. In the Indian villages, if there's some argument between two persons, if someone picks up a pair of chappals and goes to hit another person, that's considered very offensive. It means that they're really angry or whatever, you've done something really bad. They take a chappal, that means sandals, their shoes, which has all the dirt from the ground. Now Krishna is taking the dirt from the bottom of Radharani's feet and adoring his head with it. It's such a valuable object. So this verse, Saraswati Pad is glorifying and explaining how rare, the rarity of Radharani's foot dust. Text 3. Brahmeshwaradi Sudu Ruha Padaravinda Srimat Paraga Paramadbhuta Vaibhavaya Sarvattasara Vasavarshi Kripadra Dristes Tasya Namostu Vrishabhanu Bhuvo Mahimne. Vrishabhanu Nandini Mahimne, the great glories of the dust of Radharani's feet. He says, I offer my obeisances to the glories of Vrishabhanu Nandini, the beautiful foot dust of whose lotus feet is rarely attained by Brahma, Shiva and others, and whose merciful glance is endowed with the most astonishing prowess and showers the nectar of the essence of all human pursuits, love of God. Sarvartasara Rasa Varshi. So he's glorifying two things here. One thing is the rarity of the dust of Radharani's feet, that even the greatest demigods, Shiva and Brahma, they cannot attain it. And he's also glorifying Radharani's glance, that there's the goal of all life is simply to have a glance from Radharani. Sarva Artha. Sarvartha Sara. Sara means essence, Art means desirable object. What is valuable? Sarva Artha, the most valuable thing is to have a glance from Krishna, or a glance from his devotee. Radharani, of course, is the greatest devotee. I can remember when we were new devotees and Prabhupada would come to the temple in Los Angeles, and it was all-consuming ambition of the disciple to somehow get obtain a merciful glance from Gurudev. If somehow Prabhupada would glance at us or look at us, we would consider our life was so much fortunate, so much beneficial, because Prabhupada, of course, had hundreds and even thousands of disciples. In LA at the time, there was 400 devotees in the community, and many people would come from other places when he was there. So there might be 1,000 or 1,200 devotees hanging around or around Prabhupada. So we can remember once when was in one Guru Puja, and we were thinking, of course the disciple was always thinking how to act in such a way to attract the attention of his Guru, to very nicely execute devotional service so I'll get the blessings or attention of the Guru. As Prabhupada once said, he repeated something from his Guru Maharaj. He said, don't try to see Krishna, but act in such a way that Krishna will be eager to see you and reveal himself to you. And then it becomes easy. Because we're finite and he's infinite. So it's very difficult for the finite to see the infinite. But if the infinite deems us fit, then he can easily reveal himself in a second. Without any effort. Without any effort on our part, he could show himself to us. So we would think that the disciple should think, don't try to see the Guru, but act in such a way that the Guru tries to see us. That he looks at, we act so nicely and behave so nicely and serve so wonderfully that the Guru is calling us up and saying, oh, you rendered this service? Or he looks at us. Or who has done this? Who has cleaned my room so nicely? It's so very nicely done. Oh, that the Sringamata did it. Acha. You should call her. You did this? Oh, Prabhupada, by your mercy, you engaged me somehow. I tried my best. Oh, this and that. It goes like this. So once was Guru Puja, and I was thinking, how somehow I have to get a glance from Prabhupada, but I'm nobody and I've never done anything, and I'm certainly not doing any proper devotional service. But at any rate, I can somehow try to do something to get a glance. Because everyone's looking at Prabhupada, and he's hitting his gong, looking around like this. And it was Guru Puja. Sometimes he would just sit there during Guru Puja and chant japa or whatever. And sometimes he would play the gong also while we were singing Sri Guru, devotees sing. So I thought, well, I'm young and I'm really passionate. So maybe I can use this passionate, youthful energy and just start jumping in the kirtan. Because Prabhupada used to like devotees to jump at a certain point. So I was jumping and I thought, if I can really jump, my mindset was, if I really jump high like a monkey, if I jump like some kind of monkey, then Prabhupada will maybe notice me. And all these dandas were in front of me. I was a brahmachari. All these dandas were there kind of blocking the way, and I tried to find a place where I could be between two dandas, not get blocked out by the dandas. And so I was jumping and jumping. And Prabhupada was looking around, and he saw this crazy kid, jumping. He looked straight at me, and I looked straight at him, and he smiled. I thought, oh, this is my perfection. Gurudev smiled at me. This is like perfection. And becoming a monkey was worth it. If you can become a monkey and get the smile from your Guru.
Once or many times? It happened once or many times?
Many times I acted like a monkey. Yeah, a few times. Not many times, but it didn't come that many times. Los Angeles. So it's like this, that here Saraswati Pada is talking about the effect of the glance of Radharani, that if one kripa dristi, merciful glance, if one can receive the merciful glance of Radharani, then all the desirable objects and everything in the entire world become useless, meaningless, insignificant. It's very wonderful to hear about Radharani, especially during Purushottama, because we can always talk about art of chanting, which we'll continue to do.
For this from long distance.
Yes. And we can always hear about Chaitanya Bhagavat and other subjects, philosophy, but to hear about the sweetness of Radharani in her own place, and this is Purushottama month, so this is the whole objective was to act in such a way to please Purushottam, Purushottam Krishna. So they say, if you love me, love my dog. So if I go around and glorify you, you'll be happy. If I go around and glorify your daughter or your children, you'll be even happier. So if we glorify Krishna, we find that he doesn't like it very much. He likes it. He likes to hear his glories. But at least when he came as Mahaprabhu, he stuck his fingers in his ears. When people started glorifying him as God. But we definitely know that Krishna loves, more than anything else in the world, he loves to hear the glories of Radharani. So this is his month. Krishna says, I am this month. I put all my energies, all my potencies, all power I have to bless, everything I put into this month. So if we do any small thing in this month, then Krishna is so pleased, he will just shower us with an avalanche of mercy, downpour of mercy. So, in other words, like, if you give me something I really want, how much I'll be happy with you. Say I'm sitting in Iraq, and I've been placed there as a computer programmer for 5 years. My wife is in Bombay, and you're my boss, and so you're in Bombay, and you say, actually, I'm going to give my employee a very special treat. So you go and buy a ticket for my wife, and you might make a surprise. You take my wife and say, come on, we're going back. I'm going to take you to meet your husband. So then the boss comes, he calls you in and says, listen, I have to talk to you about something in the business. So then you go to the office, and then he says, now, thing is, I'm very satisfied with your work, and I want to give you a small prize. And then he rings, opens the door, and then he brings out your wife. Say, I bought your wife here, and she's going to stay here with you, and the company's going to pay for her expenses. So how much happy you'll feel? You can imagine. You've been there for 3 years without your wife, and the boss has arranged to bring her there. So, this is the best gift I could ever have. So this is Krishna. If we bring Radharani to his ears by glorifying Radharani, how much happy he'll be. And if he's happy, then by the way, you're in a good mood? You're happy? Well, can you bless me? Now that you're happy, now I gave you what you want. You want to hear about Radharani, and because hearing means seeing, and seeing means being with, and being with means ecstasy personified, Ladani personified, Anand personified. So now that you're happy, can I put in a small request? Because I'm really unhappy, and I'm really sad, and really contaminated, and I'm really far removed from you. Can you please bless me that I can become your pure devotee? So like this is our idea. So maybe tomorrow, due to popular demand, and my own demand also, we'll change the timings so that this class will take up more time and other classes will take up less time. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Radharas Sudhanidhi by Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur. We're discussing verse 3 about the rarity of Radharani's foot dust, how rare it is to attain that great devotees they cannot attain. And Krishna himself it says Brahma and Shiva, they cannot attain this dust. And this dust has so much power, it's the essence of all desirable objects, all arthas. The dust of Radharani's feet, Radhacharana Renu, is the greatest possible imaginable fortune for anyone to attain. And to elaborate on that idea, and then it's explained in the purport how Brahma, Lord Brahma, the father of all living entities, let's say creation, he's the creator, secondary creator. He's the immediate creator, but the efficient creator is Vishnu. Taking empowerment from Vishnu. Vishnu injects all the jivas, and then Brahma gives the body by Fisher, body by Brahma, jiva by God. So he gives the material bodies, but there's no driver there. The driver is Vishnu. Mahavishnu expands and puts the drivers in all the bodies according to their karma. So they work together. The immediate cause of creation, so he's called the creator, is Brahma. But the efficient cause of creator, the efficient cause of creation, the original Adi Karta, or the original doer, original creator is Vishnu. So they work together. So this such a exalted personality is Lord Brahma. He's also praying to attain the dust of Radharani's feet. So that gives some indication how rare it is. So he's praying in 10th Canto Bhagavatam, which we were studying last night in some form or other, at about 2 o'clock in the morning, on the roof. Whoever was there, or even I don't know if I was there myself, but it was chapter 14, Brahma Vandanam, and it was verse 34, which we didn't reach. Tad buddhi bhagyam iha janma kimapyatavyam yad gokalepi katamangri rajobi shekam yad jivitam nikilam bhagavan mukundas twadyapi yat pradaraja shuti mrigyam eva. Brahma is telling in his own words, he's revealing in his prayers to Krishna in Vrindavan. He has come down to Vrindavan after purloining the calves and boys and returned them after 1 year of his time, or rather our time. Earth time was 1 year. It was only one moment. Let me take these calves and boys, cowherd boys, Krishna's friends who he's eating lunch with. Let me snatch them, put them in a cave, and see what he does in 1 second. So that 1 second of Brahma's time is 1 year of Krishna's time. So they were packed up over there in prison for 1 year. So Krishna had a big task on his hands. What to tell the mothers? Yeah, we sent our boys out with you to play, and then they got lost. Thousands of them. Where'd they go? You came back alone? Where's my son? So he was in a heap of trouble. Brahma really caused a lot of distress for Krishna. So no problem. Koi baat nahi. Krishna expanded himself immediately into exact replicas of all the cowherd boys. Because they all come from him anyway. Everything comes from him. Ham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate itimavat whatever. Vajanti mam. He says in 10th chapter in the Chatushloki of Bhagavad Gita, verse 8, I am the source of everything. Everything comes from me. And the wise knowing this, then they worship me. So Krishna is the source. So he created himself out of his own Yogamaya, Swarup Shakti, all these beautiful cowherd boys, his friends, Sridham, Subal, Madhumangala, etc. And they were still there, playing with him for 1 year. And all the calves, jumping and singing and playing. But they were in a special feature because they were Krishna calves and Krishna cowherd boys. So they were all attractive, more attractive. So the mothers were very happy to see their boys, and the matas, Gaya Mata, cows were very happy to see their babies because they were actually Krishna. So Brahma, after all that was said and done, he felt extremely repentive and humble, and he begged forgiveness, and he offered so many beautiful prayers to try to pacify and mollify the Lord. And they're known as Brahma Vandanam, chapter 14, and they're really wonderful. And these prayers are all about Purushottam Krishna. So everyone in the Gaudiya Math around India, they observe every year or every 3 years, they observe Purushottam Vrat by reciting these prayers and studying them. So we are also making our half-baked attempt last night to at least look at them and get some idea, but we didn't have too much stamina for all that. But he's saying, Lord Brahma is saying, the Creator himself is saying, I consider myself very blessed and fortunate if I can take any kind of birth, even a subhuman one, even not even human, any kind of birth. Tad buddhi bhagyam iha janma kim api yatavyam in Gokule me. Any kind of birth in Gokul, Braja Gokul, I don't care. Any kind of birth, I'll be happy, fortunate, blessed in this forest of Gokul, so I can be sprinkled by the foot dust of one of its inhabitants. Anybody. Just let me have the foot dust. Pradaraja Shruti Mrigyam, whose very life, any of the inhabitants, anyone living in Braj, what is their life? Their very jivatam tu nikilam, Bhagavan Mukundas. Their jiva, their life force, their life breath, their energy, their action, their desire, everything is Mukunda, Bhagavan Mukunda. If I'll take a birth anywhere and just let me be sprinkled, let some of that foot dust of them fall on my head. And even now the Vedas, the personified Vedas, are seeking for that foot dust, the Shruti Mrigyam. So Vishwanath Chakravarti comments on this verse, which we also have in our Sarata Darshini. The Brahma was so astonished by seeing Krishna's pastimes, he didn't have the courage to directly ask for the dust from the lotus feet of the cowherd boys. Well, naturally, he really put them in a lot of problems. He doesn't want to bring up he doesn't want to approach them for anything, but please forgive me. And it's not like, well, listen, I stuffed you in a cave for 1 year. And after stuffing you in a cave for 1 year, it's a little hard to breathe in a cave. Anyway, you're stuffed in this cave for 1 year. In the middle of your taking lunch, you were in the middle of taking you were saying, oh, Krishna, this rasgulla is so nice, please take it. And all of a sudden, doop! Where's the rasgulla? Where's Krishna? Where are you? Where's your lunch? You're ripped off. You're kidnapped. You're kidnapped and hijacked. Well, we say now hijacked. That's a new word. Instead of saying kidnapped, we say hijacked by terror. You were kidnapped and hijacked by a terrorist, a four-headed terrorist. He had sakat. He had topis on all four heads, just so his eyes looking out. Terrorists. They put these hats on their little eyes, monkey face, right, and they look out. Hey. And you see in the airport the picture of the guy, some black mask, you can't say it. Gunda. So Brahma, he came like a Gunda. And he kidnapped, hijacked Krishna's coward friends and the calves too. And he flew them off. He hijacked that airline and crash landed in a cave. And stuck them all over there. So now he'll be obviously, certainly very reluctant to say, oh boys, I really did a bad thing. By the way, can I have some of the dust of your feet? Forget it. We'll show you the dust of our feet. Now, kick you right in the face, you rascal. And all four of your faces will just surround you and whomp you. Give you, we know karate. We learned from Krishna. We'll kick you good. So he's like, I'm not messing with these guys. They're Krishna's people. So he didn't have the courage, who would, to directly ask for the dust of the lotus feet of the cowherd boys. Therefore he meekly, humbly prayed that somehow he could get a birth as a rock outside the house of any Bungi or Chamara living on the outskirts of Braj, so that he can sprinkle his whole body with that person's foot dust. What they usually say is that he wanted to be a rock outside a Bungi's house. So when the Bungi comes back after walking all around the gutters and streets, sweeping and cleaning, he'll say, oh, my feet are dirty. I can't go in a house like this. Yesterday my mother yelled at me. I came in all dusty, dirty feet. So I should wipe it off on this. Oh, there's a nice rock here. Scrape. Wipe off your dusty, dirty, stooly feet on this rock. And who is that rock? Brahma. Maybe there's 4 rocks there. Must be 4. Or maybe 1 in front of one house and 3 in front of some other houses. Because he has 4 heads, right? 1 rock for each head, or 1 head for each rock, or whatever. Sometimes we say you have rockhead. You blockhead, you rockhead. Your head's like a rock. Dingback, stupid fool. So now he's really got a chance to have a rock head and rock out or whatever. So there he is with his head on the dust outside of Bungi's door. Please scrape your feet on me. This is what is being said. From this, it is easy to understand that it is very difficult for Lord Brahma to have a glimpse of the dust from Vrishabhanu Nandini's lotus feet. Now what about Lord Shiva? The dust of the gopis and the gwals gopis and gops is difficult to attain even for Shiva in Kailash. Once, of course, he tried to come and live in Braj. and he took the name, and he does live here, as Gopishwar, hoping to attain some of that dust. But when Radha and the gopis saw him, they prayed for the dust of his lotus feet. Because Gopishwar is Ashutosh. Shiva's Ashutosh, very easily pleased, and still the gopis, they're in Naralila, they're just ordinary girls. Listen, girls, Shiva's come to the Rasastali. Really? Yes. He's situated over there, and he's taken a linga form. He's posted as some type of guard. Krishna set him up over there. Oh, let's go pray to him. Oh, Mahadev, please bless us, that by your blessings we'll attain the association of Krishna, and we'll attain Krishna's service. But they're simple, innocent village girls. So they're thinking, what a great opportunity for us. That Mahadev, Shankara Bhagavan, Bam Bam Bolanath, that innocent one, Bolanath, the innocent Lord has come to benedict us. So they were worshipping every day, Gopishwar Shiva. Please bless us that we can enter the rasa dance. And following in their footsteps, Anugatya, Gopi Anugatya, Sanatana Goswami was going every day to worship Gopishwar. And Das Goswami is worshipping and Vishwanath Chakravarti. They're all praying to Gopishwar. Please bless us. So anyone who lives in that side of town, or when you ever visit there, they surely should visit Gopishwar. In the morning you can do linga puja. In the evening you can offer like some incense or ghee lamp from a distance and have the darshan of Lord Shiva in his gopi roop. Have you seen? Really? Someone you visit so many days, you've never gone. You are really smart. They say that if you want to live in Vrindavan, he is the ticket, he gives the ticket. Vrindadevi, Purnamasi, Yogamaya, and especially Gopishwar, because the other ones you have to bargain with them. Vrindadevi you have to cut a bargain. And Purnamasi and Yogamaya, but Gopishwar, he's Bolanath, he's innocent, he's simple. You can get over on him easy. You can worship him. He's easily pleased. A little incense, bring him some para, you bring him a little this, that, the other thing. Because he's a Vaishnava. He doesn't like all this funky arka fruits and stuff like that, which they stick on his head. He likes para. You bring some Mahaprasad, bring him some Mahaburfi from Krishna. He'll love it. This is how the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they worship him as Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu. He's the greatest of all the Vaishnavas. So they don't go offer him this sticky porcupine thing and put it on his head. What's it? Datura fal. If you're a Shiv Bhakta and you're following Shiv Puran, Karma Kandiya, then you offer Datura fal and arka flowers, which are useless. There's white flowers, arka flowers. They grow in a milky, sappy plant. We offer these little blue flowers. This other, what's that? Blue flower that hangs like this. Maybe that's also Datura. That's Datura ful. One's Datura ful, the little blue and white things, which are like weird.
Also likes bael and leaves.
Yeah, bael leaves. You can't. If you don't offer bael to him is like tulsi. And you put it upside down too. You don't put it right side up. Tulsi, that's interesting. When you worship Krishna, you always put it right side up. There's the bottom and the top. The top side should be up. One between each toe. Four mantris between each toe, or 4 leaves between each toe on that foot, and 4 in that, with chandan. This is Krishna puja. But Shiva puja, it has to be 3 leaves, and you put them upside down. Top side down. Bottom side up. You know that? Yeah, you can just learn, watch anybody, and he does follow the old lady in front of you. Let's see, what's she doing now? What do you do first? Do you first put the leaves, or first you bathe? Just fall in behind any little Brijvasi Brahmin, and you got it down. That's how I learned to do puja, Gopishwar. And I just pray to him, please bless me, that I can attain eternal residence in Vrindavan in the service of Radha and Shyam. Please bless me. Then 1 year of visa extension, then 2, then 3, then 4, and 5, and 6, and 7. 11 years extension on a 1 year visa. Mahadev ki jai. Then finally, Tonk Sarkari. You are an Indian citizen. 1998. So this is the mercy of Prabhupada, and the mercy of the Vaishnavas, and especially Gopishwar, because I went every Monday to worship Gopishwar when I lived in Ramanreti. So I'm very indebted to Lord Shiva, Gopishwar, Mahadev, and you have never been. So you also have some proposal to live in Vrindavan, but no submission, no permission. No permission, no admission. Because he is the admitting officer. He is the, what do you call it in college? Admissions officer? That's what they call it, admissions office. And there's some admission officer, you have to meet with him. Yeah, admission papers. And you meet with somebody, reviews your case. Okay, we'll give you a scholarship. So he's the admissions officer. You put your petition there, your file, your application. You go to Kamyavan, to Brinda Devi, and you go to Gopishwar. He's easier to get to. Regular, you have to check up on your file. You say, listen, I gave my paper. Are you moving it or what? What are you doing with it? What do you need, a bribe? Yes, you haven't given me para. You haven't been here in a month. Where's my para? Where's my maha garland? Where's my bela flowers? Where's my bale fruit? And what's this? You want action with no bribe? What is this? No puja. He's very kind. So he wanted to also come to Braj and attain that dust. But when Radha and the gopis saw him, they prayed for the dust of his feet to attain Krishna. So therefore, it's very hard for Mahadev to attain the dust of Radharani's feet, because she won't give it. She wants the dust of his feet. So that's because that's told in the verse that Brahma and Shiva and others, Saraswati Pada is telling us that they can't attain. Very difficult. The dust of Radharani's feet in this verse is called Shrimat. Shrimat, which means filled with opulences. So therefore, even the goddess of fortune, she's pretty opulent, right? Lakshmi Devi. She's the Devi, the goddess of money, money. The gold coins. You ever see the posters? Saraswati, Durga, and... Come on. There's 3 ladies in the poster. Saraswati, Durga, and Lakshmi. You've never seen these posters? They're everywhere. Durga's sitting there on a tiger like this, and Saraswati is with her swan or whatever, peacock, and then she has her. And then the goddess of learning, the goddess of material energy, and the goddess of money. So all these posters, every Agarwal has one. Every Agarwal has one posted on their house, in their house. They don't miss out. They don't want to miss Durga because she's controlling everything here. And then they don't want Dhanam Dehi, Janam Dehi. They're begging for all these things, power, position. And then Lakshmi Devi, you got to keep good relationship with her. Keep the coins falling on my head. And she's like this. She's holding her hand like this, and the gold coins are falling through the sky, and the guy's in the ground like this. You see in the poster. So she also wants to get the dust of Radharani's feet. Radha Charan Renu. But can she get it? Yes or no? No. She's sitting under a bilva tree in Bailvan, Shrivan, doing tapasya, sitting in Padma Asana like this. Please give me the dust of your lotus feet. So every year in Posh Mas, the Brijbasis go to sprinkle the dust of their feet on her head. Because the only way to get Radharani's dust is get the dust from the feet of the Vaishnavas, specifically the Brijbasi Vaishnavas. So they all go there to bless Goddess of Fortune. The first they give her a nice plate of khichdi, because she's been eating bael leaves for 11 months. Bael leaves and bilva fruit for a couple of weeks when it comes in ripe. So they go and they give her a nice khichdi for four Thursdays every month. I went there many times, not to give her any blessings, but just to have her darshan, because all my Brijvasi friends would take me there. You must have went, you must have gone. That's the thing to do in January. So everyone has different experiences in Braj, and it's all being arranged by Krishna for our advancement and devotional service. Braj is like a mother. Prabodhananda Saraswati, in another very famous book called Vrindavan Mahimamrita, which he also wrote about the wonderful glories of Vrindavan Dham, he said, "O Vrindavan, you are just like a mother, and being like a mother, then please overlook all my offenses and nourish me, continue to nourish me, and keep me on your bosom, keep me on your breast, and don't kick me out, because I am your child, and I'm taking shelter of you, so please protect me and overlook all my offenses." Very sweet prayer. Seeing Vrindavan as mother, because she is. So we're really getting dusted off here. Now we're getting pretty dusty. But it's a good place to be. Brahma wants to be in the dust of Radharani's feet, and Shiva wants to, and Lakshmi Devi. So if we're aspiring for the dust of Radharani's feet, we're certainly in good company. Isn't it? We'll be in line with Shiva, or Shiv, as they say. We'll be in line with Lord Shiv, and Brahma, and Lakshmi Devi. That's really good association. I couldn't ask for better. Right? So then, this word is described here, that there's a small little pastime here. One day Radharani was exhibiting her mood of jealous anger, transcendental anger, because she's not really angry, it's only a show. Like sometimes mothers pretend to be angry. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, this is wrong. And my son goes, oh. Mother's angry, and then she goes in the other room, sees her husband, she just smiles. And so it's like a false show of anger, just to rectify the son, or to elicit the proper behavior. Often teachers or mothers, they do this little show in front of the child, to put on a stern face and raise her voice. Hey, this is not good. Listen, it's my mother's angry with me. I better behave myself. Better shape up. Yes, it's right. And then she goes inside and ha ha ha. But at any rate, so this is what this man is actually. Radharani is inside herself. She's completely dakshin, submissive to Krishna, willing and ever ready to serve Krishna in any way, shape, or form. This is her bhav. There's no reluctance, there's no animosity, there's no avoidance or contrary mood, but under the force of Lalita Sakhi. Lalita Sakhi is called, Radharani has one name which is mentioned in Utkalika Valari. In Utkalika Valari, Rupa Goswami says that Radharani is Radha or Lalita Manini, was it? Biti. It says Lalita Biti, Manani. Biti means bhayam. Bhayam means fear. That Radharani, she's Radha Manini Lalita Biti. That Radharani adopts a mood of man, or external, showing contrary or opposite behavior, or disinterested behavior, some anger in Krishna, due to her fear of Lalita Sakhi, Lalita Bhayam, Lalita Biti. So this is going on. It's a drama, it's a play. So we shouldn't confuse that this anger out of jealousy is... Because how can you be jealous of yourself? I suppose some people are. There are a lot of weird people in the world. There's sadists and masochists, and people flagellate themselves, they beat themselves. It's called a masochist, someone who subjects himself to punishment, hits himself on the head with a hammer. So there may be people that are envious of themselves. I'm envious of myself. So Radharani, when she shows jealousy towards Chandravali is her. Chandravali is nothing but Radharani. She's expanded from Radharani, Kaya Vyuha. And then the Leela in the pastime, she's her sister. So it's usually, of course, anything is possible. But people aren't so much envious of their own sister. Of course, maybe they'd be full of envy. It can be also, if you're ugly and she's pretty. But at any rate, and Chandrabhanu, who is her uncle, and Vrishabhanu's father, he is the father of Chandra Vali. Chandrabhanu, it's a very similar name. His name is Chandrabhanu, her name is Chandravali. So, like this. So when they grew up, they played together, they grew up together, had so many birthday parties together, and blew bubbles together, poof, whatever kids do. And so it's not. So she appears to show some jealous anger towards Chandravali, but it's all Leela. It's all love. It's all sweet. Always has a sweet ending. No one gets hurt. No one gets really angry. So we should never misconstrue what's going on here in the transcendental domain. But one day, Radharani is angry out of jealousy. So with the help of her Sakhis, because Krishna is trying to break her man, so she puts her, with the help of her girlfriends, Krishna tries to put the red lac on the foot soles of Radharani. Of course we heard this. But then Radharani, she says, he's not doing this right. So her feet were wet. Radharani's feet were wet with this red lac dye, this red coloring. And so while they were still wet, Radharani just gently kicked Shyam in the forehead. She just put her footprints. So then that lac came off and then what happened when she pushed or kicked his forehead with her red dyed feet? The red dye came on his feet and his head went back a little bit, like a slight jolt, like donk. Like, hey, what are you doing? You're not doing this right. Then his peacock feather fell off his turban. So someone might think that this act of Radharani makes Krishna inferior, but actually it's a sign of Radharani's mercy. Krishna considers this the happiest day of his life. That he considers, now I become a marked servant of Radharani. Property of Radharani. Like sometimes they wear, you see these t-shirts, they have property of Folsom Prison or property of Hindi High School. They give you some uniform to wear in the sports field or something. Sometimes they put the name, property of this school or that school. So they let you use the equipment or the clothing. You have to give it back afterwards. So when Krishna gets Radharani's footprints, the dust, which is full of the dust of Radharani's feet, when he gets that dust in his forehead, he's very happy to advertise. He's very proud to walk around and show the world, see this? This is Radharani's foot dust. And I wear this as a topmost ornament on my head. Even my peacock feather got knocked off by her feet when they were forcefully thrust on my forehead. But I don't mind. I'm very happy about it. Who needs a peacock feather? That was something that distinguished me to have a peacock feather. But other boys wear the peacock feather time to time. And Radharani also wears peacock feathers. But nobody gets the great fortune, to wear Radharani's footprints on their forehead. Nobody, no coward boy, nobody, no gopi, nobody. And certainly Radharani doesn't wear her footprints on her forehead. Although she may wear a peacock feather, and maybe mine, she sticks in her hair. So this is the happiest day of my life. I have been crowned with glory. I have really been crowned with glory because it's so rare. You see, it's so difficult. I know myself how difficult it is. Shiva's trying to get the dust, and Brahma's trying to get the dust, and Lakshmi's been over there for I don't know how long. I went over and met her one day. I said, what are you doing here? She says, well, I'm trying to get the dust around Radharani's feet. I want to become a gopi, and I want to enter the rasa dance and serve you like a gopi. Oh, really? Why do you want to do that? Oh, because you're so attractive and you're so sweet. Well, let me ask you a few questions, Lakshmi Devi. Krishna met one time when he was walking here and there, Gochar and Leela. He said, Lakshmi Devi, you're doing all this tapa and austerity here in Belvan. Let me ask you this. If you were to take birth in Braj as a daughter of a gopa, which means you can become a gopi, and you get married, would you be willing to leave your husband in the middle of the night and when I play the flute and come join me? She said, wait a minute, what are you talking about? First of all, I'm a sati, I'm a chaste wife. I could never run away from my husband. What is that? And the other proposition you said, take birth from the womb of a gopi? I mean, I'm a brahmani. I'm the wife of Brian. I'm a brahmani. How you become a vaishya? I mean, do you mean to tell me that for me to become a gopi, to dance with you in a rasa dance, I had to become a gopi? But the process is, first I had to be born as a daughter of a vaishya? A coward person? This is impossible. Then Krishna was thinking, oh, well, good luck then. There's no way you're going to enter Braj if you can't become a gopi, take birth as a gopi, and give up your husband. Well, let me ask you this. Perchance, say that you did take birth in Vrindavan, and somehow or other, in the female form, Brahmani, whatever, would you be willing to,
cow dung patty.
Would you be willing to make cow dung patties, gober, and slap it on the wall, and then cook with those? Are you kidding? Are you out of your mind? Touch the stool of a cow? I mean, I make rasgullas and I make burfi for Narayan, and I cook so many nice things for his repast. But to go outside and stoop down on the road and pick up the cow dung? Never, never, never. And Krishna said, "Acha, so it's like that, huh? Well, I wish you the best. You stay here, and I'm sure someday you'll get your desire filled. I'll pray for you." And that's where it stood, and that's where it stands, and that's where she sits. Lakshmi Devi ki jai. So we don't want to find that result for ourselves. So, of course, Uddhav is also praying in the 11th canto of Bhagavatam. He wants the dust, and he's Krishna's best friend. He's Krishna's minister and friend and Sakha. He's a guide. He goes everywhere with Krishna. And Krishna only had 2 students in his Gurukul. And he was here for 125 years. He came here, and Krishna has a PhD in philosophy. He's not an ordinary person. Now, Krishna really knows a lot, because sometimes we consider that he's God. So Krishna is so learned, and he knows everything. It's one of his Aishvarya, Sadaishvarya Purna, is unlimited knowledge. He's so smart. But when he came here, he only had 2 students. Who were they? Arjun and Uddhav. Uddhav and Arjun, according to Hindi wallas. But Sanskrit people will say Arjuna. Because I've heard innumerable people that know a lot about Sanskrit. They have a PhD in Sanskrit, and they say Arjuna and Uddhava. Because in Sanskrit, there's A is said. Did you know? The Hindi wallas, Arjun, Uddhav. They always correct me when I go to Delhi and I see Arjuna. Maharaj, it's not Arjuna, it's Arjun. I said, "Oh, thank you, sir. Glad you're so smart." Anavrajam yaham nityam puyejyet yangri renobi. Uddhav said, "I always follow my devotees to sanctify my..." Oh, excuse me. I had to retract that. Krishna is telling Uddhav, because that's called Uddhav Gita, where Krishna is speaking to Uddhav, and Bhagavad Gita is Krishna speaking to Arjun, and it means all of us. So Krishna says, "Uddhav, I always follow my devotees. Anuvrajyam yaham." Anuvraj, because the word braja or braja means to go, to follow, to move, to wander. So Braj is where God wanders. It's his wandering place. He rambles here. He rambles here, he ambles here, he wanders here. It's a place where you wander. Braj means to wander. All over the Dwadasavan. So Brajbasis are wanderers, actually. Krishna's mother and father and Nanda Baba, they were wanderers. Sometimes in Kamyavan, sometimes in Gokulavan, or Mahavan, Gokul, and sometimes in Chatikar. There's a Van there also. And then sometimes in Nandagaon. So they're wandering. So that's why they're called Braja. Vasis. They wander and live where they wander. So he's saying, Anubrajyam yaham nityam puyet yeti yangri renubi. The angri, the lotus feet, renu means the dust. Krishna is saying, I always follow my devotees to sanctify myself with their foot dust. So what to speak of Radharani? As we mentioned earlier, when Krishna sees the footprints of Radharani, which are full of the dust of Radharani's feet, then what does he do? He drops everything, drops his cow-herding stick, and drops his flute, falls in the ground, and says, Jai Radhe, and rubs the dust on his feet. So that's Krishna. Krishna is desiring it, and he worships it. And there's that nice pastime where when Radharani was in Man, he came to encourage her to give up her Man, and he ended up receiving that great fortune of having Radharani's dust decorate his forehead. And he considers that to be his most prized and valuable ornament. The Shiromani, the great jewel of his head. Shiromani, the great crest jewel of Krishna's head, is to be so fortunate to have Radharani's footprints and her dust of her feet imprinted there. Yes.
Then you said when he had his feet, the dust of Radharani's feet on his forehead, and by falling, and he tells others that I'm so fortunate now, I have this dust on my head. He's telling his friends.
Because he doesn't wipe it off, he keeps it on all day.
And so when they hear him say like this, how do they take? Because some of them are in favor of Radharani and some are in favor of Krishna only.
Yeah.
How do they take this?
You're talking about his boyfriends?
Like he's telling his friends
Yeah.
and other gopis are also there, I suppose. And how they take it? Because they may think that he's just like.
Well, he doesn't announce it to everyone. Actually, it goes. Maybe I didn't represent it correctly exactly. People have different ideas about what it is. What are these red marks on his forehead? It's not a very clear, detailed footprint with all the 19 marks, 8 marks on the right foot of Radha and the 11 marks on the left foot. They're not clearly there. But the Priyanarma Sakas, the gopis, they know. The Mandris and gopis, they know everything because they witness it. But the other uninformed gopis who are maybe not there on the scene, they also understand. And if they're in Chandravali's party, they're angry. They respond by saying, "What is this? This is that other gopi's footprints, not ours. This is not very good." And you can see this mentality in the Rasa Panchadhyaya, whatever it is. In the 10th canto, when the gopis are wandering looking for Krishna after he left the Rasa dance, there's different gopis are speaking there. Sometimes it's the Vipaksha Sakis or the Paksha Sakis. Paksha means my group, and Vipaksha means against my group. So V means Paksha. So Vipaksha Sakis are Chandravali, Padma, Shaibya, and the Paksha Sakis are Lalita, Vishaka, etc. And there's neutral ones also, like Shamala, etc. They're called neutral. So there are different ones who are speaking, and some of the gopis, they see the dust of Radharani's feet and they say, "Who is this other gopi? Who is this other gopi that's taken Krishna and left us all alone to search for him?" So that's an envious tone. They're a little bit envious. So that's the anti-party. That's Chandravali and company. But the other ones say, "Oh, this gopi that has taken Krishna, she must be more fortunate than ourselves because Krishna has taken her off to a lonely place and left us all alone." So the gopis that speak that are the favorable party, Lalita. So they have this type of responses. So also when they see the dust on Krishna's forehead, when the other sakas see it, they think, "Oh, it's some mineral dye from Govardhan. Someone has put some red mineral powder, or some kumkum powder, or whatever. They rub something on his forehead." And he doesn't tell them. And they can't guess. But the Priyanarma Sakas, who are sharing Krishna's Madhurya Leela, they're part of it. Madhumangal, Sridham, Subal, as I recall, maybe not Sridham, I'm not sure, but I think so. They're privy. They're what you say privy to this particular Leela, because they're there. But actually, they may be just outside the kunj, and he goes into the kunj with a clean forehead and comes out with wet lac on his forehead, so they can gather quite easily that this is the mark of Radharani's lotus feet. So this is those that know. Those that don't, guess. And those that are unfavorable, they become envious. And those that are favorable become happy. The gopis, when the Paksha Sakis, when the gopis and Mandris, when they see later, at some other later time, after the fact, they see Krishna still parading around town, around with the cows, still haven't washed his face. He doesn't want to wash that. He wants that to stay on forever. When they see his face marked with their Swamini's footprints, they'll jump for joy. Look! Look from Radhakund, from the afternoon, from 2 o'clock in the 2:30 in the afternoon, still in the evening he's coming back with the cows. And although somehow or other, I don't know, I thought they bathed at Manasi Ganga, but maybe he said, no, I don't want to bathe today. Because after he went back from Radhakund, he went to Manasi Ganga, met all the cows and boys. And then they returned with the Aparan Leela, back to Nandagan, and all the cows and boys. And I think all of them bathed in Manasi Ganga. But it appears that he said, I feel a little cold today. I have a little sniffle, so I won't go in the water. You boys play and bathe on my behalf. Because he's guarding that great treasure on his forehead. He doesn't want it to wash off. So when the Manjaris, Radharani's Manjaris, the Sneha Adhika Manjaris and her Priya Kinkaris, when they see Krishna's face like that, coming back, passing through Barsana, they're so happy. Hey, look, he still has it. Look, he still has Radharani's marks on his forehead. This is remarkable. It's 5-6 hours. It's still there. It hasn't sweated off, hasn't washed off. He doesn't wipe it off. Didn't dry it off. Oh, isn't this wonderful? Doesn't this make you feel so happy? And they become very, very proud. Just see. He himself has become a marked maidservant of Radha. He become a marked servant. All rights reserved. Copyright. Srimati Radharani. So Radharani's put her copyright mark on Krishna's forehead. All rights reserved by Radha. You belong to me. And Chandravali thinks, I belong to you. The Radharani thinks, Krishna, you belong to me. There's Tadiya Bhav and Madhya Bhav. Her Bhav is Madhya Bhav. No, that's a different point. Madhya Bhav means you are mine. And Tadiya Bhav means I am yours. This is Prakara, Bhamya Prakara. It's a different thing. So, this is the glories of Radharani's foot dust. How rare it is, and everyone's anxious for it and praying for it. And we're living in Brajadam, or trying to live in Brajadam, and that foot dust is everywhere. Seva Kunj, Nidhiban, Radhakund, Shamakund, Giriraj, Govardhan, Rasastali, Barsana, Prem Sarovara. And we go there and we roll in that dust and we pray, stick to my, dust, please, don't jump off me. Stick to my heart, stick to my body, stick to my mind and never leave me. Decorate me, ornament me, purify me, help me, bless me. But as soon as we put our head in the dust, what's this stuff on my forehead? What is all this stuff?
like berries also you make.
Yeah, Krishna holds, and Gokul, Krishna holds onto the tail of the calf, and they drag him through the dung and urine and everything, mud and milk, and he laughs. This is wonderful. He thinks it's great fun.
That mind is not this.
No, they don't have any of this mal bhav, any of this kind of bhav that is dirty. There's nothing dirty. Everything's clean and pure. Different mind, transcendental mind. I'm dirty. Actually, that's what Brajadam is saying about us. When we lie in Brajadam, Brajabhumi, who's a goddess, who's a Devi, she's thinking, this dirty guy is lying on me. I hope he doesn't keep any dust on me. I don't want to be on that guy. I don't want to be stuck on this dirty guy. I hope he brushes me off. Thank God, he brushed me off immediately. I certainly wouldn't want to ride around the place sitting on that guy. So that's what she's thinking from her. You have your thought, you have your worldview, you have your viewpoint, but what do you think the Yamuna thinks of you? Or what do you think the dust thinks? You go to the Yamuna and say, the Yamuna is dirty. There's something floating in it. Look at that. Look. It's a dead.
Govinda Hari Purusham Tamam Vajami Agni Yasham Sukadam Priyami Timate Vashanti Chanti Srimad Govinda Hare Purusham Jaya Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Namazam Shakra Namazam Shakra Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Namazam Shakra Jaya Shakra Jaya Jaya Radha Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Mama Shiva Jaya Suraja Bhagana Jaya Bhagana Jaya Bhaladeva Jaya Jaya Puranika Jaya Puranika Puranika Jaya Puranika 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 Jaya 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 Lama Simha Jaya Lama Simha Simha Jaya Lama Simha Lama Simha Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya 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 Vrinda Devi Jaya Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada 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 Jai Jai Gurudev Jai 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 Gurudev Krishna Padaya Krishna Prasaya Seva Bhakti Dhira Swami Krishna Vidaya Krishna Vistaya Udalare Jai Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Deva Puramani Pacharya Nirvansesha Sunyavanti Prasthata Desatari Namaste Saraswati Deva Puramani Pacharya Nirvansesha Sunyavanti Prasthata Desatari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gauravata Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gauravata Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Jaya Krishna Guru, Hare Guru, Hare Guru, Krishna Guru, Hare Guru, Krishna Guru, Haribo, Haribo, Jai Shri Jai Shri. I'm sure it is.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you all very much for that. Delicious. I wish all of you the blessings of Sri Prabhupada for disappearance. Hare Krishna. See you later.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna